If you talk to Terrence Howard, do you know his theory about how planets are created? That it's just things ejecting from the sun over billions and billions of years, and that there's a Goldilocks zone where you can create life.
Right.
And that's where the people are.
Oh, it makes a lot of sense.
It makes
shout
sense
out to
that
Terrence Howard because I just talked to him a couple hours ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, so we were talking about wave conjugations and everything.
Me up for like 3 days. I left this podcast for 3 days. I was like, God damn. First of all, how the is he so smart? Like, how would you ever imagine that a dude who's an actor on a television show or in a movie is that smart?
Right,
like freaky smart.
So Joe Rogan's on a roll at the moment with his smart guests. Recently, we've had Hollywood actor turned philosopher and astrophysicist Terrence Howard. Before that, there was Christopher Dunn, who used his decades of experience in high-tech manufacturing to explain the advanced engineering and technology used to build the Egyptian pyramids. We also had moon landing hoax theory expert Bart Sabrell, who fired up Jamie so much that Joe Rogan had to calm him down himself. And then there was Fox News bad boy Tucker Carlson, who doesn't own or use computers, yet seems to be across all of the latest news and events. However, we can't forget where all of this started. That's right, the epic showdown between JRE veteran Graham Hancock and our big archaeology hero Flint Dibble. And for all you Dibble haters out there, yes, that's actually his real name. But Rogan's recent guest, Billy Carson, puts all these grifters in his pocket. This guy is the top of the grifting food chain. Just wait until I show you the shit this guy is selling on his website. I mean, Cat Williams warned us, right? Anyway, so what I'm going to do is take you through his main theories and explain how he fits into the JRE grifter universe. I'll tie in Graham Hancock, Terrence Howard, our boy Dr. Dibble, and I'll show you how they're all related and how their theories blend into each other. It's actually really interesting, to be serious. And just to give you an idea of what we're dealing with here, check out some of the top comments from YouTube. 19 missed calls from Terrence Howard. Flint Dibble is going to have a heart attack when he sees this. Flint Dibble thinking maybe Hancock is quite a reasonable guy. Cat Williams crawling, Terrence Howard walking, Billy Carson fully running circles around us all. So to start off with, let's get up to speed on Billy Carson's origin story, which started 7 years after Terrence Howard's.
When did you start going down this road of exploring all of these interesting subjects?
Well, it was a long time ago, 1977 in Miami, Florida. We moved from New York to Miami next to the Opa-locka Airport, living in the hood. I'm outside in the backyard playing, but I'm looking at the airplanes go over. And this one day, this plane goes over, but it's not really a plane. It clears the horizon in seconds, not minutes. It just goes straight across. I know from as a little kid, the planes take a long time to go from one point to the other. And it went straight across, glowing.
A tic-tac.
Almost like a tic-tac, glowing metal, yes. And then it came back and it stopped right over me, completely silent. Now I can estimate about 250 meters. And then it just went, pew, gone. And I ran in the house and I told my mom, hey, I can't believe what I just saw. And my mom said to me, son, back in the day, there were advanced beings that came to this planet. This is 1977.
Your mom told you?
My mom.
This?
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's why I dedicated the book to her. And so I went to the library at Rainbow Park Elementary the next morning, and I told the teacher I have to go to the library inside the school, Rainbow Park, and I said I need to get all the encyclopedias on space, on aerospace. And she gave me the encyclopedias on aerospace. And that's when I started researching from that exact moment.
Wow.
And I haven't stopped since.
So you were, how old? 8?
7.
7 years old. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
You just got locked in.
I got locked in. I'm looking at submarines. I'm looking at hovercraft that existed way back then, flying discs that we had created in the military way back then, SR-71s and all this stuff. And I'm trying to figure out what the hell did I see, and I couldn't find it. But it took me down the path of technologies and advanced technologies and aerospace information, and I kind of became a quasi-aerospace historian, and that led me in further on down the line to studying, architecture and seeing a connection between the two.
And like most of Joe Rogan's expert guests, he has almost no formal qualifications in his area of expertise. He did a couple of online certificates through Harvard and MIT, though, so at least he can say he studied at 2 of the best universities in America. Yeah, so Billy's got some deep knowledge there, but let's get our juices flowing with some Anunnaki talk, and this is where most of his theories come from. The Anunnaki were a group of ancient godlike figures dating back to the Sumerians, Akkadians, Assyrians, and Babylonians. Basically, they were part of the Mesopotamian religion and mythology, and they were said to have descended from the sky god called An and the earth goddess Ki, and their roles were to determine the fate of humanity. Now, Flint Dibble will tell you that these were just mythological characters, there's no archaeological evidence to support they actually existed. But for Billy Carson, not only did they exist, but they were actually ancient astronauts who had access to advanced technologies that we could only dream about.
No matter where you go in any culture, you're going to discover that these beings, in some way, shape, or form, engaged mankind, brought knowledge, teaching, building techniques, and just so much more wisdom and information, esoteric wisdom, alchemy. All these things came from these people.
The craziest version of this story is that they genetically engineered us out of lower primates and put us here to mine gold. That's the wackiest version of it, right?
Right. That's the bare bones minimum.
Yeah, the wackiest version is that they made us, which is we've talked about this a couple of times, but how bizarre it is that human beings have this incredible fascination for gold.
Okay, so this is how the theory goes, right? Around 450,000 years ago, the Anunnaki descended upon planet Earth from far, far away on a planet called Nibiru. Now, their main goal was to mine the vast gold reserves here on Earth, which were believed to have been an essential material for the Anunnaki to save their own world. You see, gold has these unique properties that they needed to stabilize their planet Nibiru's atmosphere. But even though they came from an advanced civilization millions of years ahead of us, they decided to reprogram our DNA with a combination of their own so we could do all the gold mining for them. Kind of think of it like Lemmings, but with a gold mining DLC. And so this is what supposedly led to the giant leap forward in science and technology that gave us the advanced civilizations that Graham Hancock talks about. More on that a little bit later though. Now, if you're wondering where all of this came from, you'd have to go to the ancient Sumerian stone tablets, which contain all of the evidence you need to understand exactly what happened. But like I said, Flint Dibble can't help us out with this one because there are no known archaeological discoveries that support these extraterrestrial gold mining theories. Incidentally, if you head over to Billy Carson's website right now, you can get an awesome deal on his dietary supplements Starfire Gold and Colloidal Silver, which are part of his alchemical elixir of the Anunnaki starter pack for just $84.95. And if you use the code FORBIDDEN, you'll get a 10% discount. But that's not it. If you make a purchase today, you'll get 1 free month of Forbidden Knowledge TV. Honestly, what a deal. I'm not aware of anyone else who's producing an elixir of life for such a low price. I mean, forget Alpha Brain, this shit is not only backed by science, but also testimonials. You can expect increases in energy, elevated consciousness, mental clarity, and superconductivity. It's also known to be beneficial for spiritual enhancement, clarity, and anti-aging. I just dumped a bottle of Starfire Gold before I got on here and I'm tweaking hard. Anyway, let's get back to the Anunnaki space wars.
So the idea is that there were beings that were having wars on this planet. Were they? Do you believe they were having wars with people that were revolting, or were they having wars with other beings?
They were fighting with each other. And evidence of these wars can be found in the book of Deuteronomy in the modern-day Bible. These gods, and I do mean gods with an S, because everywhere in the Bible where it says God singular, it's actually a mistranslation. They were fighting each other over resources and people and control of the planet. And so that's why in the book of Deuteronomy, God tells people, go to this city, and it's like a far city away. They don't even know that these people exist. They go over there to kill them. He says, kill the women, kill the children, and bring the spoils of war back to me. And you see these wars in the Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita, the Bible, the Sumerian tablets. And these wars are just nonstop. It's like they were attacking each other. They had gone awry. They had gone rogue out here on this planet and then began to fight over people and populations and resources.
We would hope that we would get past that. But there's no evidence that we have so far. So, like, why would we think that as AI gets implemented and technology escalates and all we're going to be able to do in the future in terms of being able to go visit other planets and duke it out on other planets?
Okay, so this is where Terrence Howard comes into it. Billy and Terrence believe that they've been able to unlock their DNA and access the secrets to the universe, which the Anunnaki programmed us with but switched off. And this is how they justify their own superintelligence and ability to comprehend what's really going on. I've always wondered about the psychology behind a lot of these crackpot theories, and for me, this actually seems to be an important element as to where they get this false sense of superiority or false sense of intelligence, whatever you want to call it. It's also known as the Dunning-Kruger effect. These guys are convinced that they have a deeper understanding of human evolution and history without having any formal education or skills in those areas. And this is the key to their justification. All knowledge is embedded in our DNA from birth. All we have to do is unlock it. They don't need to study, they don't need to listen to experts, because all of the secrets of the universe are already inside us.
If you want to say, oh, human beings could be aliens, well, actually, every person on this planet is an alien. Even our planet itself is an alien. According to the Anunnaki, human beings were created in a way that genetically, we were supposed to become more superior than them. They didn't know this was going to happen. And Lil was angry at his brother Enki because Enki put a little extra in the sauce. Yeah, a little
really?
extra. And he said that the mysteries to unlock the secrets of the universe is hidden within our bodies, and that we ourselves can rise to be even higher than them.
That sounds insane.
Yeah.
How do they specifically describe that?
They describe it just like that. It says that human beings, or man, we call man, Adapa was created to be even higher than us, and that all the secrets of the universe, the mysteries, are within our body. If you look at the tablets again, this is why I love these tablets, man. They talk about the fact that, they had created this being, not created from scratch, but genetically modified. They add their essence to it, is what they say, added our essence. So by adding the essence, you can see where all of a sudden maybe our ancestors were in tune with the magnetic field and were able to communicate psychopathically, maybe even had telekinesis and these other innate abilities, and they tinkered with us and took away our memory, took away our ability to tap into that so we can focus solely on them.
See, this is the ultimate Uno reverse card. You can't argue against them or debate them. All they'll say is, I don't need to prove anything to you because all the evidence is inside you already. You've just got to flick the switch and unlock it. And when Terrence Howard's hydrogen-fueled propulsion system doesn't actually work, it's because we're not ready for that technology yet. It's not the propulsion system that's faulty, it's everyone else. It's the world around us. It's pretty clever when you think about it. 1 × 1 = 2, and if you don't agree, it's because you haven't flicked the switch inside yourself to fully understand why it's true. Remember how Terrence was saying that our world was built on the idea that 1 × 1 = 1, and that once we accept that the answer is really 2, then we'll have to rethink our entire existence. Well, this is how these guys can make those statements with a straight face. See, we're still in the process of realigning modern-day science with ancient advanced science and technology.
There's no coincidence that the tablets are aligning with modern science. And this means that a couple things. The first thing, it means that we were genetically modified. The second thing that it means is the telomere caps limit our lifespan to about 120 years max, according to Harvard scientists. Now, in the Bible, what does it say? It says that my seed shall not abide in man forever. His years shall be 120. That was taken from the Sumerian tablets, even further back than that. And Lil shows back up, sees the human beings building a tower into the heavens, copying a tower that they themselves had built. It pissed him off, and he said, whatever their hearts decide to do, they shall achieve it. My seed shall not abide in man. His years shall be 120. And then he did a genetic modification at that point, I believe, with the telomeres. And he spread mankind out around the planet, and he confused their languages. He had us speaking different languages, so we couldn't collaborate. Now we're in competition, no collaboration. Divide and conquer.
It was all done just to keep us from rising.
Yes. We were advancing too fast, and he had to slow us down. If we shorten their lifespan, then they won't have enough time. By the time they realize who they are and what power they have, they'll be dead. And see, that's what's happened to us.
There you have it right there. Billy and Terrence have reached a higher level of enlightenment that most humans won't live long enough to experience. What better way to shit on centuries of scientific and technological advancement without having a shred of evidence? And that's how we get these theories about the pyramids. But just before we get into that, let me ask you this. With all of this Anunnaki talk and space wars and extraterrestrial masturbatory, are you feeling a little lightheaded? Well, I have the perfect solution to ground yourself. If you head over to Billy Carson's website right now and follow the links to their earthing shop, you can slip your feet into a pair of of grounded flip-flops. These grounded flip-flops will quickly become your go-to choice for everyday wear, providing you with a unique grounding experience. Featuring cutting-edge proprietary grounding technology, you won't only look stylish, but you'll also stay grounded in body and mind. And for only $29, your wallet will stay grounded too. So don't miss out. They're the perfect addition to your wardrobe for your next Billy Carson Egyptian pyramid tour.
There's not one thing about it that's not completely insane. Yeah. Like every single aspect of it is completely insane. Yeah. The fact that we still will try to pretend today that it's not impressive.
I don't think people realize I take people on tour to the pyramid every single year. I take people on a huge tour. Last year we had 140 people on tour in Egypt for 12 days or whatever it was. Each individual stone at the pyramid is a different shape and size. There are no two stones that are perfectly the same. Each stone fits in an interlocking format. So you can't say, go over here and cut these stones. We're going to bring them over here and we're going to throw up this pyramid. It doesn't work that way. Each stone is made individually, specifically for the location that it's exactly in.
Because they all have to be at an angle. Because they're all going up towards this angle, so everyone has to be cut perfect.
Exactly.
And all of them are perfect.
All of them. And if you accidentally cut the wrong size or you're off by a few inches, you can't make the pyramid. You can spend a week or two getting a stone to a location that don't fit. It doesn't make any sense. They had foreknowledge. You only build that if you have a complete blueprint and you've got proven facts, right? You have proof of concept that it works and you've done this before.
See, this is the part that gets me, right? That's pretty hard to argue with. I'm obviously not an expert on the Egyptian pyramids, but if what Billy's saying is true, then he's kind of got a point. How did they build each block perfectly with no duplicates if they didn't have some sort of advanced engineering system to plan everything out with? The Great Pyramid of Giza has blocks weighing between 2 and 15 tons, and if you go inside the king's chamber, some of the blocks go up to 70 tons. In total, they used around 2.3 million blocks to build it, which is wild, but when you consider it took around 20 years to build, well, that's a very long time, even if we're talking 2,500 years before Christ. Now, if you ask Flint Dibble, he'll tell you they used sledges and rollers to move the blocks and then transported them by boat up the Nile. But however you look at it, there isn't really a satisfactory explanation for what Billy Carson was talking about there. And what he said next was even more mind-blowing.
Now, what do you think about the other pyramids that are wonky? Like the ones that aren't perfect.
The deeper you go into antiquity, the more perfect construction was. The further you come forward in time, the more wonky and crazy things are and begin to fall apart. The knowledge was lost. You can see the evidence of the knowledge. By the time we got to Alexander the Great, have you ever been to Alexandria?
No.
I thought I was going to go see this incredible place. It looks like a bunch of crap, a bunch of piled up rocks, buildings leaning on each other, even the people living in apartments that are leaning, buildings leaning. The stones are small. I could pick up those stones with my own hands. They tried to duplicate the majesty of ancient Egypt, but they didn't even come close.
Yeah, so you can't deny that it took a very long time throughout history for civilizations to build the technology and discover the science that allowed them to build with the precision that the ancient Egyptians built with. Even if you accept that they molded the blocks and cast them in shape on site, that would still require the ancient Egyptians to have an advanced understanding of chemistry, which was far beyond their years. I mean, Billy Carson's trying to sell an elixir of life potion on his website in 2024. But as for Flint Dibble, he doesn't actually have an explanation as to why we got dumber before we got smarter again.
The idea, if you follow Terrence Howard's theory, is that matter comes from the sun, it moves away, coalesces into planets, it gets to a Goldilocks zone, life comes out of that, life becomes far more intelligent as time goes on, develops more capabilities, and then is also assisted by other beings that have been through this process already.
Well, I estimate that they're about 1 million years ahead of us technologically. Now, it could
And then there's things that are millions of years ahead of them.
Oh, way ahead of them. There's things that are far, far ahead of them.
This is what's hard for us to scale out.
Yeah.
We like to think that aliens that fly in spaceships, that's the top of the food chain.
Right.
But not even close.
So this goes back to Billy's theory of there being interdimensional beings and different levels of existence. Us mere mortals are at the bottom of the food chain in our 3-dimensional world, 4 if you include time. But according to Terrence and Billy, there are beings who are able to drift between as many as 11 dimensions, where time is no longer a restriction. Physics and chemistry as we know it no longer become restrictions either, which is supposedly how they are able to reach this higher level of knowledge and consciousness, but they also believe in these godlike creators who sit above everything and have determined our fate. You might recall earlier on I played a clip where Billy said that the word God in the Bible has been incorrectly translated for thousands of years and should really mean the plural gods, which would then point to the existence of the Anunnaki. And therein lies a central criticism from experts who say that you can twist and turn almost any observation into so-called evidence to support your theories.
The problem with these kind of calculations is Flint Dibble made note of this, that you could take that and you could do that with a lot of different things. Like, what was the one he used for 420? Yeah, there's a bunch of different funny ones.
420,
yeah,
weed day?
the weed day, yeah. You take these arbitrary precession of the equinox numbers, and you could multiply them times like whatever you want, and you could get a bunch of different results, like based on what you wanted the result to be.
Rogan was saying that in response to claims from Billy that you can see evidence of advanced civilizations in how certain designs and structures match up with modern-day astronomical observations and calculations, such as the Great Pyramid aligning perfectly with the cardinal directions, or the 3 pyramids of Giza lining up with the 3 stars of Orion's belt. Graham Hancock has also observed that ancient structures around the world align with the path of the sun, and that's where guys like Terence, Billy, and Graham find themselves on common ground. They use gaps in archaeological theory to pose questions and fill in the gaps themselves with their own theories based on ancient mythology, and like I pointed out, they have so many strategies to avoid having to show any actual evidence in a real debate. That's why you still have people who think Graham Hancock won the debate against our boy Flint Dibble. It's so easy to just say, yeah, well, how do you explain this or how do you explain that? And when Dr. Dibble doesn't have an answer, that supposedly becomes irrefutable evidence that ancient astronauts tweaked our DNA to mine for gold. But as for Billy Carson, honestly, if you have time, go and check out his website called forbiddenknowledge.com. He's literally got clothing lines and all sorts of other merch that are based on his crackpot theories. My favorite is probably the Anunnaki back design t-shirt, which you can buy for the low price of $36. And once you've scrolled through his website, head over to his wife's Instagram where she posts videos of all their luxurious getaways and romantic date nights, as well as snaps from all their luxury real estate and their Rolls Royces and Bentleys. Honestly, when I see shit like that, it makes me feel bad for Flint Dibble. Not because his name is actually Flint Dibble, but because he's a poor academic just trying to get by with an oversized suit and a fedora. His only hope is to come up with some crackpot theories of his own and break away from big archaeology. That way he can start his own website, maybe create a line of alchemy potions, or what about this? Just hear me out here, okay? Imagine a Flint Dibble video game where he's the main character and you have to go back through time to ancient civilizations and fight the Anunnaki, only using archaeological tools to prevent them from enslaving us. That would be wild. Imagine all the side quests you could take him on. See, if he did that, he could get a regular spot on JRE and then he'd be raking it in from all the exposure. Anyway, it's just an idea for now. But that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check out the link in the description below to my Patreon. I've got some fresh content coming for you guys, so go and check that out if you're interested. Otherwise, if you're not a regular of this channel yet here on YouTube, hit the subscribe button and don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you ended up enjoying this video. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.
What do you do when you encounter flat Earth people?
Oh man, I just try to be quiet. I just tell them, look, it's not my thing. You know, I remember Flat Earth Society offered me money years and years ago. And they really attacked me hard, death threats and everything else.
They get very upset.
Yeah.
I do not understand. I just think it's people committing to an idea.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense.
Well, it's a religion now. They turned it into a religion.